So the condo market is crashing. It's hot outside, forest fires, but the real estate market, I wouldn't say it's heating up. Let's look into it. Before we get to it, just want to say hello. My name is Jeremy Tremblay. I'm a local realtor that works here at the Belleville, Quinte West, and surrounding areas. If you have any questions after this, please reach out, send me an email. It's down in the description. Also, hit that little thumbs up and the subscribe. It really helps. Let's get to it. As we started off, I was mentioning how the market doesn't seem to be heating up very well. And what we're going to do is look at the stats for this past month. They came out for the month of July of 2025. It'll give us a little bit of insight as to what is happening here. And then afterwards, I'm going to give you a little bit of an idea of what I'm seeing on the ground in this market, Belleville, Quinte West. Now, where's Belleville and Quinte West? If you look over in Toronto and then you go Highway 401 east, about an hour and a half, you're going to land at this area, Belleville, Quinte West. Many in Toronto have heard of Prince Edward County, which is just to the south. I like to use the stats from Belleville and Quinte West because I think it best supports what's happening in this part of the housing market. We're going to look at 4 stats total. Nice and simple, but gives you a good idea of what is going on in this local market. First thing we're going to look at is months of inventory. If you've never heard of this before, whenever you hear them say, well, it's a balanced market, seller's market, or buyer's market, they are referencing this stat specifically. And what they're doing is they're taking the total number of sales and it's a ratio between the total number of sales and the active listings. And so 3 months and less of inventory, that is considered a seller's market. Between 3 and 5, you are into a balanced territory there. And then above 5 months of inventory, generally seen as a buyer's market. There's an asterisk there because those numbers can change depending on the sentiment in the market, but we'll talk about that some more. So right off the bat here, we have months of inventory. If we look at the stats, this goes back until July of 2024. So we have a full year in view in this one chart. And you're going to see now that we are up a little bit. So 4.2 months of inventory is where we came in for July of 2025. This time last year, we were around 3.5 months of inventory. So what does that mean? We are more into that balanced territory towards a buyer's market. And I'll talk more about that after as to whether we're truly in a balanced market right now. You've got average sale price. Everyone likes to know this one if they are going to be buying or selling. And as you can see here, the numbers, we are at $544,000 for July as the average. And then for July of 2024, we were right around that exact same spot. So take note, no change. We're roughly right where we were last year this time. Then you've got number of sales. And so this past month, we ended with 137 total sales between Belleville and Quinte West. So the two added together. That has been dropping. So you can see we kind of reached the peak right around May of 2025. We had 163, then it went down to 156, then down to 137. Now, if you're looking month over month, you'll say things are kind of dropping. We're having less sales. But if you look at where we were last year this time, right around that 130 sale mark. So we are selling the same number of houses. Interesting to note. And then finally, you have days on market. This one here, always a good sign of what's happening and expectations from a seller's position, also for buyers of what they expect for houses to be sitting on the market before they sell. And this past month, we came in 41 days on the market. So in April, we were down here around 26 days. Then we started going up 32 days, 34 days. Now we're at 41 days on the market. So houses are sitting a little bit longer. And this one here, last year, we were below 40. So we were in that 37 days on the market range. Not a huge shift, but we are seeing houses stay on the market that little bit longer. So looking at all these, that's what's on paper. Those are the statistics. But what does it really mean? What are we seeing in this local market? I mentioned about months of inventory being just over 4 months of inventory, which would technically put us into a balanced market. I'd say that is fairly accurate, but I think buyers have the upper hand right now. Mainly because, and something that's not as clear is, well, we have the same number of sales year over year, we have more inventory. And so the same number of people are buying, but they just have more houses to choose from. And so they're being that little bit more choosy, which is why houses in general are staying on the market a little bit longer. So when I'm talking to people that are selling, I'm like, price is extremely important right now, because if you're putting it too high of a price, buyers have choice and they are taking advantage of that. And they are looking at everything and they're holding back. And they're looking for the person that's ready to sell and has it priced effectively at the true market value. The other thing I'm seeing right now is that buyers and sellers, when it comes to offers, whether they're going to be meeting at all. So if the seller is going to come down or if the buyer is going to come up. And right now, buyers are trying to get in a little bit lower, and some sellers are saying, no, I'm going to stay where I am and I'm going to wait this out. Whereas there are some sellers that are saying, well, I'm going to take a little bit less. And that's especially true for those that are going to say, well, I'm going to sell for less here, but I'm going to go buy for less somewhere else. And what happens when someone in your neighborhood sells for less? Well, the comparable is suddenly less. So that's what we're seeing a little bit more of here. And if you were to talk to local realtors and locals that are in the market presently, they're going to say, it's soft right now. One other thing that we've been talking about quite a bit is the other factors from outside of our area. I mentioned the condo market. Well, Toronto, which is really close to us, the condo market is crashing. It's a terrible market, and all the news and sentiment from that is traveling. But I will also add, when you dig into a little bit more, those detached single-family homes, semi-detached, even townhomes, row homes, they're still fairly desirable because they're just not building as many of those. So condos are kind of on their own from that detached. And in this area, Belleville, Quinte West specifically, you're looking at a lot of detached, semi-detached homes as the norm for this market. The other thing we're going to look at is the interest rates, Bank of Canada. So recently they came in and they kept them steady. So they've been gone a while now without lowering the interest rates. The job numbers just came in as well the other day, and they were actually quite terrible. So we've lost quite a few jobs in Canada overall. The unemployment rate has ticked up just a little bit, especially in Ontario. And in this local market, we've had a little bit of a tick up in our unemployment rate as well. And so there's a little bit of fear there. We've been waiting forever, it seems, for a deal between Canada and the US with all this tariffs happening. And so there's a lot of things lingering. And then to top all that off, the uncertainty, you've got summertime where it's been incredibly warm and people are really just sitting back. Not as many people are active in the real estate market. So the one thing we're going to be looking at right now, recording this early August, is most people, because historically they'll be expecting real estate market to pick back up in September. So that's going towards the fall market. The question is, will that happen this year? With all the stuff happening in the economy, will we see that happen this year, that the market picks up? Not sure. Really not sure. The Bank of Canada is not sure whether they're going to be cutting rates at all. Are they going to keep the same? And so there's a lot of uncertainty. That's the word that you're going to hear quite a bit. And that seems to be true locally. But what I will say is there is opportunity. So if you're out there looking to buy and you're thinking, okay, is now a good time or should I be waiting it out? Well, I would say now is a good time to be out there looking at the options. And not all sellers in this area are willing to drop their price, but there are some that are willing to kind of concede a little bit on those numbers, and it's a matter of finding those ones. Hopefully this has helped. Hope this has provided some value for you. If you are thinking about moving to this area, definitely let me know. I've helped many people from outside the area move here, some of which has even become my neighbors. Shout out to Adam. And if you have any other questions, down below, you'll see my email. I'd love to chat. Till next time.